now have Fabiano, who's going to be talking about reputation management. And before I kind of introduce Fabiano, there's a lot of, those of you that do client work, there's a lot of opportunities out there for you to do SEO for reputation insurance, or when something hits the fan. There's a lot of opportunities. I give you an example. We've been working, or we did work with a broker. It wasn't a real estate broker, but he brokered other products. And the name of his business was his name, blah, 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 blah. And he was out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And he had a very, very profitable business brokering products that are valued over $2, $3, $4 million. He was in the airplane industry, okay? And something unfortunate happened in his life where it became kind of front page news in the newspaper. And so when you started searching for, if you were looking to buy an airplane, a Learjet, a used Learjet, and you typed in this broker's name, all you seen was this negative stuff that was really pushing down his business. And I mean, he had a very, very profitable business, but just like overnight, the faucets got turned off, and he was in a panic. And he came to us, and because now we're reactive, and we're basically, we have to clean up all this stuff, it became somewhat expensive for us to do this, and it became very time-consuming. And he paid very dearly for that, all right? And for 7, 8 months, we were getting those big paychecks. And it took about 8 months to finally get him off, get all the bad stuff off page 1, and also pretty much most of page 2, and now his business started picking up. That would have been to his advantage if he would have been proactive, and by not waiting for a crisis to hit, okay? So that's what Fabiano is going to be speaking with you today about, both the proactive, the insurance part of it, and also, what can you do? And we're going to share something like, we're going to say, what do we call it, black hat?
Dark cat.
Dark hat, all right? This is, really the only time we might even bring up kind of black hat kind of tactics, because we don't care if these particular pages we're going to be putting out there do get burned. We just got to get them out there quick so we could push down that bad stuff. And if, 2 months down the road, if Google says, hey, this is garbage content, fine, it did its job for the 2 months, okay? So this is probably the only time in our training we're going to talk to you about how to do some black hat techniques and what, we see actually works, after post Penguin. So I'm very excited to have Fabiano here with us this afternoon. Fabiano is part of our team, the SEO Roadmap, SEO training, in another company we have, TKO Marketing. I've known Fabiano now for a number of years. I'm not going to mention the agency he had worked with, but I'm sure if you've heard of the agency, you'd be very familiar with it. So I'll just give Fabiano the opportunity, what he wants to reveal about that. And then Fabiano and I really got connected when he was working with a financial advisor down in the Tucson area. So I'm really excited. I mean, Fabiano is probably, I consider him probably one of the experts on reputation management. With that.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, just a little lay of the land here, what we're going to be covering today as far as reputation management. Just as an introduction, when it comes to reputation management, being a guru or an expert or any of those terms, all I know is that I have to sell reputation management to clients, and it has to work. So there's a lot of opinions out there, a lot of gurus, a lot of forums, a lot of strategies and tactics. But first and foremost, it's got to work, and oftentimes it has to work fast. So the way we approach it is we are doing reputation management for several clients, and we track what is working today in the scene, what is moving rankings, and what is causing reputation management as a product to come to the forefront. So in today's presentation, just to give you a 30,000-foot view, we're going to talk some philosophy, reputation management. If you look at it from a technical aspect, there's a lot of nitty-gritty, do this, don't do that, technically, put your site here, profiles. there's an overarching philosophy that has a lot to do with life in the way we sell, the way we promote, the way we handle business. Whether you are a religious person, whether you're a yin-yang, whether you're a karma, I don't care what spectrum you're in, there's an aspect to life that comes with that that has been proven and shown, and it reflects itself in business. And since reputation management is having to do with your personal brand, the brand of a company, the identity of a product, those things are all tied together. So we're going to touch a little bit on that before we go into the nitty-gritty. And then we're going to talk about 3 aspects of reputation management in Module 1, which are reputation insurance, preventative measures, reputation management, engaging yourself in the conversation and taking part of the conversations that are happening related to your name, your brand, your product, your service, your company you represent, and what Roy was talking about, crisis. When something hits the media, when an unforeseen event happens, and you've got to clean up that space for the sake of whatever entity you're promoting. A lot of reputation management, I would say 90% of it is absolutely preventable. There are life events that happen that we have no control over, and those things could be dealt with, but 90% of this are absolutely things that you can not only control, you can influence towards a very positive side. So that reputation management becomes reputation opportunity. You're leveraging your reputation for very good things in your business instead of fighting against the grind and trying to always clean up something negative. Okay, Module 2, we're going to talk about management, engaging yourself in the conversation and being active, where to do that and how to do that so that you control the space. And then in Module 3, we're going to cover the dark side. For illustrative purposes only, we're going to cover the way I approach this is I want to show you what goes on the dark side for 2 main reasons. To increase your awareness of how nasty and sneaky some people are, to give you a warning as far as before you pick a fight online, what you should consider. Now, Roy had mentioned a very good example about putting up a $50,000, I'll prove that this product works. I thought it was a great example. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, you better be really sure, 1, that you've got $50,000 in case you have to pay up. 2, that the product doesn't work, that you've tested it all different ways to Sunday to make sure that you're not going to have to fulfill that. Because the results of putting up something like that and then not fulfilling it, much worse than you have just not mentioned anything, right? So, all right, let's get right into it. This idea, the ABCs, you guys have heard this before. We're all in business. We're all entrepreneurs of some kind. We're all promoting ourselves or a company. And there's this idea that you're always closing, right? You're always closing. It's kind of the old sales tactics. To me, that is dead in this economy, in this age. Now, why are you talking about sales, right? It's reputation management. 1 out of 9 people in the United States, their profession is selling services in exchange for monetary reward. But we're all selling. I have to sell my kids every night to go to bed at 7:30 or at 9 o'clock. I got to sell them to brush their teeth. I got to sell my wife on let's do this or do this to the house. Selling in terms of our interaction with one another, we are always exchanging something for another. It might not always be monetary, but I'm pulling your time away right now, and you got sold into being in these seats to hear something of value. So it was a monetary exchange, plus is the exchange for your time. You're going to go about your lives, and there's going to be some kind of transaction happening, right? So the new method, especially that becomes heightened online, is not ABC always be closing. In our mind, it's authenticity, belief, and conviction. So you've got to be authentic, because whatever you are can be splattered online in a second, and it'll be promoted to the rest of the world. Whether you're nasty, nice, mean, cordial, everybody out there has a chance to capture that and reflect it right back. And sometimes it's not just people's opinions. Sometimes it's a recording. Sometimes it's a video chat. Sometimes there's no running away from he said, she said, because there it is, right? Belief. Belief in your product, belief in who you are, belief in what you're promoting, what you're doing. That comes essential to being authentic and to being able to reflect that out in terms of shaping your reputation.